What's up, guys? It is Sunday, so it's time to continue on with the CD collection. I think we're on part like 94 somewhere. I never know. I can never remember the numbers. I'm going to wrap up the L section today and get into the M's. Just going to jump right into this. First up, we have some black metal out of Sweden. Sweden. Actually, this band is out of Switzerland. I'm not off to a good start. I'm going to butcher their band name as well. Lycaon, I believe is how you pronounce that, with their 2018, I'm wanting to say, EP entitled Ominous Eradication of Anguished Souls. Very dark looking artwork. The spine is very dark. It's kind of hard for me to read. I'm getting old, so it's kind of hard. I probably need some glasses or bifocals at this point. Pretty good, kind of ritualistic sounding black metal. It is just an EP, so it doesn't go on too long or get overly kind of ritualistic on this. Pretty aggressive sounding stuff, very lo-fi production, but I do like that one quite a bit. I believe they have a couple of full lengths, for sure one full length that followed that, but that's the only release that I happen to own from them. Next up, we have an album that came out last year. This is a project. It's got some members of Blood Incantation on it, doing their take of kind of avant-garde black metal. This is I always butcher this one as well. Lycotonin with Promethean Pathology. I'm going to struggle through this video. I can tell already. I'm having trouble speaking this morning. Pretty good black metal here. I mean, it's full of seasoned musicians that kind of got together to do this project. This was released through Profound Lore last year. It didn't gain as much traction or attention as I thought it would with some of the members that were kind of taking part in this project, but I did enjoy it. It does get a little atmospheric. You can kind of figure that that would be the case, featuring members of Blood Incantation, and there's some other band members from some other bands in that as well. But pretty good stuff there. Next up, we have some hardcore. Does get emo-ish, but it's like some not super sappy sounding emo. This is Lynchpin with 20 years, 7 months, and 27 days. I received this in a grab bag quite some time ago. I believe this album was released like in 1999. I know it's been out for many, many, many years. Pretty good stuff here. I did enjoy it. Uh, Sometimes when you see that emo tag, that's a something that's going to put you off immediately, and it's probably something that I would not have checked out on my own. But the fact that I got it in that grab bag kind of led me to do that. It's a pretty good release. Is it something that I'm going to listen to every day? Absolutely not. But it is worthy of still holding a place in the collection because there are times that I would like to pull that off and listen to it. In my last collection update, I kind of talked about how I love that kind of DIY style, like on the tapes and stuff that I was getting in of death metal. Here's a CDR, very campy looking. It's a four-way split. Got some brutal death metal, gore grind, death grind. This is lymphocytic, cunt faced, Willie, and Death Plague four-way split. I'm not going to take it out of the little plastic sleeve. It's just on a CDR. As you can see, it's numbered on the disc and on the little insert there. I have copy number 2. Only 19 of these made, but it's a fun little release. I mean, it is very campy sounding at times, but if you're into brutal death metal, if you're into gore grind, if you're into death grind, I mean, it is a fun release. I think you can listen to those bands projects on Bandcamp. I'm sure that little run of CDs is long sold out. Next up, we have some kind of melodic thrash metal. I believe this band is out of France. This is Lysantia with Unsu. Pretty decent. I mean, very accessible sounding. It's not super aggressive or anything. Kind of almost like radio thrash kind of sound going on here, but it isn't bad. I mean, I dig it for what it is, and I can definitely appreciate that one for what it is. Moving on to the M section, which is probably good because I was struggling pronouncing all of those L bands there. This is just a compilation from M Theory Records. It's 5 years uh, of heavy and metal is the name of the compilation. It has two discs in this. I'm not going to pull the disc because it's just in this little kind of wallet sleeve there. Pretty decent compilation here. It has a lot of the stuff that was released under their label, and it's a nice little mix. I've listened to this through. There's some black metal. There's some kind of thrash stuff going on, death metal, speed metal. Nice little. You definitely don't get bored listening to this compilation, so I can dig that. That's kind of stuff that I like listening to in the car sometimes. Just putting that in, and it can go through, and I don't have to worry about changing disc out or searching through channels. I really don't even listen to any radio. It's mainly just my CD player, so that does well. Stuff like that does really well in the car, especially like on road trips and stuff. Next up, we have some death metal featuring Mark Riddick. This is Macabre with To the Bone. At one point, I did have this on multiple formats. I passed the record on along to someone I think would enjoy it a little more as far as spinning records goes. As I had the CD, and I prefer to spin the actual CD. A pretty good slab of death metal here. I'm a fan of just about everything that Mark Riddick is a part of, between his actual like visual arts, the bands and projects that he's been a part of. A lot of death metal stuff coming from him, but he's done like some folk projects and stuff, and just a super talented guy. Next up, we have some Machine Head. This is their debut full length, Burn My Eyes. Uh, I mean, regardless of how you feel about Machine Head, like when this album came out, it felt groundbreaking. Early '90s style of kind of thrashy groove metal. I love this album. I still love this album. I understand that there's people out there that really just do not care for this band. I mean, I get it. I have bands that I don't like as well, but this album and then the follow up to that, the More Things Change. I mean, those just felt like groundbreaking at the time to me. I know I was young when they came out, so everything that I was listening to sounded so fresh and so new, and it was just the heaviest stuff that I'd ever heard. But I still love both of these albums to this day. The next one up, a lot of people hated this album, and I get it. This is probably my most played Machine Head album in my collection. This is The Burning Red. When it came out, when I originally got this, it was in this red jewel case. It looked really nice, but that is uh, long since broken and passed on. This replacement case is scuffed up as well, just from the amount of times that I've taken the CD out and listened to it. I haven't listened to it in quite some time now, but around the time that this came out, I mean, I was all about this album, and I understand that a lot of people hate this. Trust me, I get it. But for me, it's one of those albums that I'll still defend and stand behind to this day. Now, the next one in their discography, I cannot say the same thing about. This was kind of their take on new metal. This is Machine Head with Supercharger. So every once in a while, I'll get this little kind of wild hair up my butt. And I'll be like, you know what? Maybe that album really isn't that bad. I'll pull it back off the shelf and give it another shot. And immediately, I'm just like, nope, 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 nope. Move on, something else. But it's still holding a spot. It's kind of a placeholder in the collection at this point. It's the only really, well, aside from one that I'll show in just a second. For the longest time, it was the only real Machine Head album that I kind of felt that way about. The follow up to that, Through the Ashes of Empires, I was very late picking this one up. I was turned off by Supercharger. I figured this one was going to be more of the same, and I was absolutely wrong. This was kind of a return back that had a lot of that Burning Red style of stuff going on, and they even pulled a little bit of sound from their earlier albums on this, and I dug this one quite a bit. I was glad that I finally went back and then gave them another chance, because I would have missed out had I not gone back and picked that up. And then the follow up to that, The Blackening. Outside of the Burning Red, this is probably my most listened to. Definitely those two Machine Head albums are my two favorites. The early two albums I really like as well. So I mean, I think I could just put this one, the first three albums in this one on a shelf somewhere, and I would be completely happy as far as my Machine Head collection goes. But I really did enjoy the Blackening. The follow up to that, Unto the Locust, I like it as well. A lot. This one seems like it has a lot more kind of sing along tracks going on with it. It's very catchy, but it doesn't have the replay value for me that some of their other material does. I just didn't find myself like when it first came out, I was listening to it quite a bit, but after it kind of got shelved, it's just not one that I've really reached for and wanted to just go back and revisit just too terribly often. Bloodstone and Diamonds, the follow up to that one. That one was pretty good. I did like this one as well. I was a little slow picking this one up. It came out in 2014. It was a couple years, at least a couple years after that when I picked this one up. I don't remember how long it took me to actually get this physical copy here, but a pretty decent album. At this point, it's just one of those now. When I want to listen to Machine Head, I tend to just pull off the ones that I'm already familiar with, the Machine Head stuff that I've already grown to love. I did get Catharsis, and I absolutely, this one is the one that I kind of rank right with Supercharger. Something about, I've listened to this album twice, and it's been on the shelf ever since. I have no desire really to pull it back off. I have not picked up their newest album that came out last year. Hopefully, I've heard some good things about it. Hopefully, usually when they put out something like this, like when they put out the Supercharger, they followed it up with a very strong album. So I'm assuming the newest one probably is pretty good. I will probably add it to the collection at some point, but it just doesn't feel like a highest necessity for me at the moment to go on and grab that. Let me take a swig and I'll grab this other stack and we will continue on. Next up, we have some brutal death metal out of Indonesia. Go figure. It seems like there's more brutal death metal bands in Indonesia than there are people. This is Machine Rebellion with a Vortex of Endless War. This is actually pretty solid. I believe this is the only release that this band has put out. This came out on Severed Records, along with some other labels. It's kind of a four or five way. Brutal Mind, Indonesia, Severed Records. You've got some other labels kind of working together to put this one out, but I dig this one. Sometimes it can kind of fall in that thing where a lot of Indonesian brutal death metal bands start to all sound the same. This one stands out on their own a little bit. It has a little distinct sound going on, especially with the vocals and even the drums sound. The production on the drums sounds a little different than what I tend to expect from brutal death metal out of Indonesia. But I dig this one quite a bit. So good little slab of brutal death there. Next up, we have some metallic hardcore. I believe this band is out of Georgia, and I'm pretty sure you can get this CD on Bandcamp pretty cheap. I think for like $5, and I think the shipping is really cheap on it as well. This is a Machinist with Pro Negative. A pretty decent slab of metallic hardcore. I like this one. Kind of has that. Definitely going to make your head bob on this. Has almost like some death metal nuances going on throughout it as well. A pretty decent slab of stuff here. I do enjoy it. Next up, we have some black metal. This is a band out of Brazil. This is Madrigal with Contrabacio Natural. Yeah, I butchered that, I'm sure. Pretty good. This is the only full length that this band put out. They put out quite a bit of demo materials and splits and stuff leading up to this full length. It's been out for some time now. I'm not sure. I don't see a date on it anywhere as far as the year that it came out. It's been out for some years now. I'm wanting to say probably around 2018, 2017, somewhere in that time period is what I would guess. I like it. Um, this band started out like overly satanic sounding. They were like almost like try hard, and they kind of as band progressed and they moved forward through some of their other material, they kind of moved on to like this nature driven. The dark and occult stuff is still there, but it's just not over the top as it was earlier. And they have a sound now that just really works. And I hope that they put out some more material because I would like to hear them kind of expand upon what they did on this first full length because I really did like that one. Next up, we have some melodic, symphonic mellow death out of Sweden. This is Mastidium with Tale of the Endless. I believe this is a one-person project, but it is pretty phenomenal. This came out in 2021 on Blackline Records, and I'm hoping we get some more material from this project because I really liked what he had going on this one. It's only, I think, 4 tracks, 4 or 5 tracks. I think it's 4 tracks looking at it there on the back. But I dug it quite a bit. And fingers crossed that we get some more from this project because it was a pretty decent release there. Next up, we have a band. I believe this band is out of Mexico. This is Magan with Nathakana. This is black metal. If you can't kind of figure from that artwork and stuff going on there, this is just a little demo, 4 tracks, and I think this was the only thing that they ever released, which is unfortunate because I dug this quite a bit. It has a very lo-fi sound going on. It's not for everybody. It's one of those if you're not into some of that kind of more abrasive. Uh, Fuzzy sounding black metal, you're probably not going to like this, but I dug this quite a bit, and it's unfortunate. I don't think the band is even together anymore. I would have loved to have heard some more stuff from this project. As I said, just a little 4 track EP came out almost 20 years ago, so I'm assuming if they were ever going to put anything else out, they would have already. But at least I have that little EP there, so that I still pull that one off and listen to it. I think if you follow my Instagram a couple months ago, I'm sure you saw a post where I had that one out and it was in the rotation at the time. Next up, we got some death metal featuring Justin Volis from Vargheist Records and Jared Cave Moran. This is Maggot Crown with their release entitled Suffering to the Conquered. Um, if you know those guys at all, uh, Justin Volis, and Cave, you know that you're when they get together on a project, especially something like this, you just have that dark, ominous, almost like sulfuric, oppressive sound going on. This EP from Maggot Crown is no different. This came out in 2019, and it is just some dark, heavy stuff. I dig it quite a bit. There we go on the inside. I also have the Maggot Crown follow up to that. The full length, this one is entitled Cryptic Immortal Secure, and it's just, I mean, it's so heavy. I mean, if you like oppressive sounding death metal that just feels like it's just choking you to death, then this is something that you definitely should check out. There's a lot of stuff like that on the Vargheist banner, and I really like this one. I like this project a lot. Anything that Cave is a part of, you can kind of feel his personality bleeding through in the music. I mean, and Justin too, but like Cave, especially a lot of the projects that Jared Moran is in is just you can just feel his personality bleeding out through his music. Next up, we have a band. I believe they're out of Germany. Death grind band. This is Maggot Shoes with Fear Terrorism. This is a kind of like tongue-in-cheek death grind. If you're into death grind and you want to hear death grind that has Simpsons and Futurama samples going on, then definitely check out some Maggot Shoes. It is fun. Obviously, I'm sitting here smiling, talking about it. Anything groundbreaking on this? Absolutely not. Is it a band that's going to take their stuff too seriously? No. So I mean, if that turns you off, then it probably will. But it's still a fun listen for me. I do enjoy that one. Next up, I talked about this one on the live stream that I did over on Jax's channel on the Metal Around the World series for Romania. This is Magica with Wolves and Witches. This is the only release that I own from Magica, but they've been chugging along for quite some time now, putting out some some really awesome symphonic metal. This is probably my favorite release from the band. There are a couple of other full lengths from Magica that I would like to pick up at some point, but this, if you're gonna get into this band, this would be my starting point. What I would say is definitely one of the better albums in their discography. Next up, we have some melodic black metal out of Canada. This is Magister Dixit with Maze of Thousand Ways. I love this album, and a lot of people look at this as uh, one of the lower albums in the band's discography, and I love it. And I keep telling myself, if I like this one, then I'm sure I'll love some of their other material. And for some reason or another, I just not have gotten around to picking up other material. I think this is like their third or fourth length, third or fourth full length. There we go. And it's kind of like dead middle in their discography. So they have some other stuff available for me to check out, and I just haven't done it. And I definitely need to get around and doing that because I love this album, and definitely if I like that one, I think I will really like some of their other material. Next up, this one is very different. This is Magnum Carnage with More Unreal Than a Box of Precious Metal and Radioactive Ore. This was labeled as black metal. It's very experimental, avant-garde style if you want to get into black metal. I mean, it's 22 tracks. It has like almost like a grindy feel at times. A bit of a difficult listen. Not gonna lie on that. It's very different. Maybe that's what makes it so difficult. Sometimes different is good, but it's just yeah. And then next up, we have another project off of Vargheist Records. This is some black and death metal with emphasis on the black metal side of things. Out of, I believe this band is out of Georgia. This is Maha Pralaya with Death and Dissolution. The case is a little worn, as you can see. It did spend some time in the vehicle with me. Pretty good. Very aggressive. Very dark death metal. Very blackened death metal. Very evil sounding blackened death metal. Next up, we have some groove metal. This is, I'm going to butcher this one. Mahavatar with From the Sun, the Rain, the Wind, the Soil. Uh, Pretty decent slab of groove metal, female fronted groove metal. Has like a folky influence going on at times in this as well. Very different sounding stuff. As far as like the production goes and the mix, it has a like a super crisp sounding production, almost like radio friendly sounding production going on. But if you look at some of the bands that it was mixed and recorded by Michael Barilli or Baril, and he did a lot of stuff for 40 Below Summer. I don't know if you guys remember that band, and Candiria, and E Town Concrete. So that will kind of give you just that right there should kind of give you a feel of what to expect as far as the mix and mastering goes on that album. Next up, we have some goth rock. It does get a little heavy at times, where it could like teeter into goth metal. This is Main Point with Heaven Earth. I bought this from Red Stream Records way back. I bought this back before I had even thought anything about ever doing a YouTube channel. Pretty decent. I have not listened to it in years. From what I remember, it's pretty decent. Very gothy. Um, Kind of sounding. I can't think of the word that I'm wanting to put out there for this, but I mean, it is different. It is a little off the beaten path. It was released through SPV Records, so I mean, you kind of with that, you know that you're getting a little bit of a heaviness involved with this as well. It was a SPV and Morbid Records co-release, but a pretty decent slab of stuff there. I've said slab like 500 times in this video. I do apologize for that. Next up, we have some Death Doom. Liam, the Death Doom metalhead, actually is one that turned me on to this band. He did a video, like it had to have been last year, before when this came out, and he had picked up a copy. Went and checked it out. I enjoyed it and ordered myself a copy off of Bandcamp. This is a band out of Mexico. This is Majestic Downfall with their newest full length entitled Aorta. very good if you're into kind of melodic death doom. I think uh, you will enjoy this one. Lends itself a little bit more on the heavier side than a lot of melodic style death doom is, but very enjoyable release. I like this one quite a bit. I believe this one may have ended up on his end of the year list. I know he was super high on this one, and it very well deserving of it to end on his list because it is a very solid release. And then the last one that I'm going to show today, I believe my buddy Jake sent me this one. This is Malakath with the Elders Below. This was released on Folkmonger Records. This is some black metal out of New Jersey. You can look at that and absolutely tell that is some black metal. This was only limited to 50 copies. So I feel lucky to actually own a copy of this. So good stuff here. Not overly abrasive. It is dark sounding. It has a hint of that kind of atmospheric, but not like the nature-driven atmospheric. Sometimes atmospheric black metal all gets lumped into stuff like Elder Wind, and I mean your mind just goes straight to that uh, that particular realm of atmospheric black metal, but there are a lot of atmospheric bands that do it completely different. It's a very dark, fuzzy kind of style of atmospheric black, and this one teeters on that line at times, going into that atmospheric realm. But a good listen there as well. So definitely was appreciative of receiving that one. That's all I've got for this particular section of the CD collection. Kind of a long video. I was a little long-winded today. I have some exciting stuff coming up this week, so you guys definitely want to stay tuned and catch that. That's all I've got for today. I hope you guys have a great week. As I said, I'll see you at least one time, hopefully a couple times this week before we go on to the CD collection again next week. That's all I've got. Stay classy, stay metal, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys very soon. I promise.